Hi everyone, I'm Rachel from CanDo. I'll tell you a little bit about what CanDo is, and I'd love to get your feedback afterwards and talk to anybody about how they think CanDo might be able to help them. So just a little bit of background about me, because it's important to kind of understand where I'm coming from in the context of having created CanDo. So in late 2008, it was about the week before Christmas, I was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer and spent pretty much most of 2009 in treatment and about 18 months away from work, and it was probably another 3 or 4 years before I was able to go back to full-time work. So they threw the kitchen sink at me in terms of treatment, and throughout that period there were a lot of challenges that had to be overcome. At the same time, I had the experience of helping to care for my sister, who'd had synovial sarcoma on and off for nearly 20 years, and she finally passed away 5 years ago. So I'm coming from the perspective of both somebody who's been through cancer and also helped care for somebody with cancer. So the CanDo app was built late last year, and we launched it into the market February of this year. So as most people in this room would appreciate, a cancer diagnosis creates a lot of questions. So there's the obvious questions, what's going to happen with my treatment, what is my prognosis, all those kinds of questions. But then you also get a lot of questions coming at you. So when you tell your friends and family that you're going through a cancer diagnosis or about to start cancer treatment, it's very common, in fact, it's probably a universal experience that people come to you and say, well, what can I do to help? And in that moment, they're actually putting pressure on you to come up with that solution for them. And as anybody who's been in that situation understands, that question can be really awkward to answer in the first place, because asking for help and receiving help when that's not your normal mode of being is a really difficult thing to kind of come to terms with. And secondly, just the sheer organisation of understanding what you need, when you need it, and who's best to help you achieve that can be really, really difficult when you're in the midst of treatment and emotional upheaval and trying to manage families. The other thing is the person who's offering help is often left wondering if their contribution is meaningful to you. There's only so many lasagnas you can eat. There's only so many, in my case, I would say to people, as most people do, no, I don't need anything, don't bring anything. And people would bring pastries and things like that to my house. And I couldn't eat any of that. It made me really ill. But what I really, really wanted was oranges. I had a massive craving for oranges all through chemo. And so I say to people, if I had said to you, actually, I really want oranges, you would have brought them. But how would you know that unless I'm there to tell you that? So all sorts of questions start to arise, and then all sorts of complications in terms of how we respond to them and how those questions get answered. So the mission of CanDo then is to turn all of that empathy that's coming towards the patient into practical action. And it does that in two ways. The first way is by provoking that conversation around asking for and receiving help. As human beings, we're really, really bad at asking for help. So the mission of CanDo is to say to people, if there's one time of your life that you need to be a little bit pushy about your needs, this is that moment, and it's okay. And the second thing that we do is provide a tool in the form of the app, which helps organise your team of helpers. Because it's one thing to have the conversation. The second thing is, how do we implement that now that we've had that conversation? So the app comes in to help organise, manage, and communicate with your team about what you really need through that process. But there's bigger picture benefits that we're trying to build here. It's not just about taking you to an appointment or making sure that you have your favourite food in the fridge. It's also about delivering positive benefits to improve quality of life through and beyond treatment. So for the patient, we want to be able to deliver less social isolation, most people who've been through cancer treatment know that you spend a lot of time at home. People are unsure if they should come and visit. They don't know how they should approach you. And it can be pretty lonely, especially if you're somebody who's used to being out and about and in a full-time job and those kinds of things. And then all of a sudden, you're at home. So we want people to remain connected to their networks and community, and CanDo has a function inside it that helps with that. We want to promote better general well-being. Certainly when I was going through treatment, I let my diet slide, I let exercise slide, all the things that you would normally have to worry about. And of course, I paid the price further down the track. So it's really important that those things are kind of part and parcel of your overall kind of experience as you're going through treatment. And less stress to the patient. I've actually had people say to me that they thought that I wouldn't have to pay my mortgage when I was sick, that somehow the bank gives you a year off. And of course, that doesn't happen. So, but you still have to talk to these people. You have to talk to insurance companies and arrange appointments and all sorts of things. And it's really stressful on a good day. If you've just come home from chemotherapy, it's almost impossible to manage those things. So we want to kind of find a system whereby you can delegate those activities to somebody that you trust, so that you're not constantly sort of battling, trying to manage your energy and dealing with these kind of day-to-day things. And then for healthcare professionals, we want to help deliver better patient compliance, better long-term outcomes, and ultimately a lower cost of providing care through the efficacy delivered in the app. So it's very early days. As I mentioned before, we launched in February 2018. We currently have 2,000 users on the platform. What we're seeing is that the usage is very broad. We have a very equal distribution of age from 25 to 54. And then at either side of those age groups, it's pretty commensurate with population distribution. It does skew about 67% female, which I think is probably expected with the general carer population. And they're very engaged. The 2,000 users we currently have are very engaged, spending 3 minutes 11 seconds on average per day on the app. And if you think about 7 times 3 minutes 11 seconds is the equivalent of a half-hour television show, minus the ads, every week. So we're pretty thrilled with those early indicators. We've also enjoyed enormous success from media and industry organisations. So this is clearly an issue that resonates with people in the community. And I get asked to speak on this at various events and in the media because people are seeing a huge need for this kind of community-based or family and friends-based support as an adjunct to the support they're receiving from their healthcare teams. And finally, in 2019, we're going to be implementing some really interesting improvements inside the app. Firstly, we want to create a quantitative study that will show the benefits of using the app over time. So if somebody uses the app at the beginning of treatment or at an early stage of treatment, where are they at a year later? Are they doing better? Are they feeling more supported? Have they maintained compliance with treatments and aftercare as a result of using the app and feeling supported? Some additional tools that we'll put inside the app to help deliver that will be symptom trackers and mood trackers. And that data will be available for download, so you can potentially share with your oncologist or an allied health professional so that they can also see how you're tracking with that kind of data over time. So that's CanDo in a nutshell. And I'd love to hear if you have any questions. Yes, hello. The question was, how are we promoting the app? Well, we're doing a whole bunch of things. So I have a 25-year background in advertising and marketing. So, that's my background and that's where I start from. So like anything I've worked on in the past 25 years, I see a consumer problem, I find a solution, and then I tell people about it. So quite frankly, I've been exploiting myself and my story And that's the story that's been getting a lot of the traction in media. So you have to really get these things out there, you really have to be, unafraid of putting yourself in the hot seat. So it's been very PR driven. There's social media, we do Google ads, and we do Facebook advertising. I would also like to mention that, a lot of that has been that cost has been borne by the Garvan Institute. The Garvan Institute has been our major sponsor for 2018.
Thank you for that. How do you promote re-engagement with the app?
So when you become a team member inside the app or a team leader, once you've set up your tasks that require help. So if you think of it almost like a gift registry of tasks that you've put into the app, and you can either direct it towards specific people if it's something really personal, or you can put it out as a general task for people to respond to if it's something a bit more generic. Though you'll receive notifications. So you can actually save your tasks into your normal calendar, your iOS calendar or your Android calendar, and then you'll receive the normal notifications that you would receive. But we also do remind people that tasks are available or tasks haven't been accepted periodically through recontacting our base.
Has there been any endorsement by clinicians of the app, and have you used that basis as promoting the app out there?
Look, not formally, but the app was actually built thanks to the Garvan Institute, and as I've said, they're our major sponsor for 2018. We are seeking more, just a little ad there. I do work in advertising. And through their networks and through a lot of the public speaking I do, I've connected with a lot of clinicians and a lot of different oncology centres who are really, really interested in learning the benefits that the app can provide to their patient communities. So getting a lot of really positive feedback.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. That's really, really great.
Thank you.